Hello trader, welcome to weekly forex forecast. Last week of the month, we have last couple of days for this week coming up. We will be looking at now couple of pairs that how we will be starting to trade from tomorrow onwards. As you can see on the list, quite a few pairs including gold, DXY, AUD USD, Euro dollar, GBPUSD, dollar CAD, dollar yen and GBP JPY, as well as Nasdaq and US30. And if we look at the calendar coming up on Monday, JPY, very high impact news, BOJ, government EURUSD speaks. So we could see that JPY pairs getting very volatile with the market open, including Tuesday coming up, dollar CV consumer confidence. And that will make, including the AUD USD, gold, euro dollar, CAD, all of them might get very volatile. So we will be looking at in terms of this news calendar, how the market might be impacting over the week, and one by one I will be looking at all of them, and I will be also looking at the multi-time frame approach to see how we can trade in the upcoming week. Traders, before I begin this weekly forex forecast, make sure that you give a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done yet. So with that being said, let's begin this week's weekly forex forecast. Okay traders, so let's begin with DXY, as DXY will give us clear direction, removing all the noise from the lower time frame. So looking at DXY, first of all, starting with the monthly chart. Why? Because monthly, weekly, higher time frame will give us clear direction, removing all the noise from the lower time frame. So looking at the monthly on DXY, as this is the last week of the month, we can see that this whole month there has been significant bearish pressure on DXY. Currently the price in a zone where I think that as this is the monthly long week at the bottom, we could see that DXY going up for a pullback and then dropping down to fill that long week at the bottom. Now if we look at the weekly chart to see a bit more clearer picture, we can see that from the weekly there was a weekly candle that has a long wick at the top, and in this movement what we see that if we look at the huge red candle followed by narrower green candle followed by stronger red candle, represents that sellers are stronger in this market in comparison with the buyers, which might give further downside pressure on DXY. And as you can see, last week we have seen a candle that has a long wick at the top as well. Therefore, what I think that this week we might see the prices initially filling that wick and then dropping down to this liquidity zone. As you can see, this is a very important liquidity zone on DXY. Starting from here, there is a bounce and has dropped. The price is almost reaching this support level, expecting DXY to come down to test this support level. Now looking at the daily chart to see how the market might be doing, what we can see that from the daily there is a huge drop from this level, a strong drop followed by quite a few days of pullback to the previous support, turning resistance here, and from that resistance last day of trading week we saw a strong rejection, which is signaling potential further bearish pressure on DXY. Now if we look at the intraday perspective from the lower time frame, we can see that there was a bullish channel here. This is a bullish channel, and from that bullish channel the market has broken below from this support level, expecting a retest or a pullback and then continuation to the downside. We might see a potential head and shoulder formation in that zone, and from that head and shoulder we might see that DXY may continue to drop to this support level before the monthly close. So this is how we might see the market move, and as I mentioned, traders, make sure that you also do your own analysis. The market may do completely different, but I think that this might be the situation based on the current price action with the market open. I will be also keeping you updated. Make sure you give a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done yet. So let's now, based on DXY, let's look at other instrument, how they might be doing. Looking at the AUD USD, and as you can see there is important news coming on AUD. Now starting with the monthly chart on AUD USD, what we can see that from the monthly This is the monthly price action, and as I mentioned in our couple of previous weekly forex forecast, that AUD/USD might be remaining bullish, and the price did that exactly as it is. As you can see, with a long wick at the top, with a healthy body, AUD/USD may move up to fill that long wick at the top. Now, looking at the weekly chart, what we can see that from the weekly on AUD/USD, this is the weekly price action. I'm waiting for the price to refresh, and what we can see from the weekly perspective on AUD/USD, this is a strong bounce followed by narrow doji, followed by very strong bullish candlestick pattern here on the weekly, and we can see that there is another red candle here with a long wick at the bottom. So what we can expect on AUD/USD, as we are expecting DXY to drop down further, we might see on AUD/USD to bounce back up to the upside again. So if we look at the daily chart on AUD/USD, what we can see that from the daily perspective, this is the daily candlestick pattern on AUD/USD, and what we can see from the daily, this is a daily bullish market structure. There is a strong impulse followed by a correction, another impulse followed by a narrow correction, and we can see another impulse, consolidation, expecting for AUD/USD to drop further to this support level. Now, what we can expect on AUD/USD for the price to, what I think that as we see there is a break of structure, we might see further downside here, break that low, and then continue to the upside to create a new higher high, as we are expecting is still AUD/USD to remain bullish. Now, if we look at the intraday time frame, from the lower time frame perspective on AUD/USD, what we can see that there is a this is the lower time frame price action on AUD/USD, and this is a very important support level. The market locally coming down with a local downtrending market structure, expecting initial drop and then to bounce back up from this level. The market may do completely different, as I mentioned, traders, so make sure that you always do your own analysis as well. So this is where we could look for potential entry from the swing trading perspective. From day trading, we might see completely different picture on the lower time frame that we will be discussing during our live session. Now let's look at euro dollar. Let's see what kind of price action that we have on euro dollar. Now from euro dollar perspective, what we can see that this is an impulse on euro dollar. Let's look at the monthly chart first. Now from the monthly, what we can see that on euro dollar, there is a strong drop followed by this month. So we can see that there is a bounce with a long bullish candle on euro dollar. Now what we could see that this month for the price to come down again and then to bounce back up to fill that long wick at the top. Now looking at the weekly chart on euro dollar, what we can see that from the weekly, this is a weekly impulse on euro dollar, with this impulse followed by what we can expect on euro dollar for the price to come down for a deeper pullback and then to continue to rise. As we can see that with this drop, the market has again shown a significant bullish momentum on euro dollar. Now looking at the daily chart on euro dollar, what we can see that from the daily, this is a daily price action which is potentially still showing a bullish pattern. What we can see here, an impulse followed by a correction. So this is a typical bullish market structure on euro dollar. Now what we saw that initially from the daily, the market after this, this is a bull flag that we have seen a break below, and from this bull flag the market started to again bounce back up. So we could see continuation. So if we look at a bit more lower time frame here, what we can see that from the lower time frame perspective on euro dollar, there is already a breakout. What we can expect on euro dollar for the price to come down again in that zone and form an inverted head and shoulder potentially, and we could, as the market has broken out of that structure, we'll be waiting for the price to come down and then to continue to rise to the upside to create a new higher high. So based on that, we will be looking for entry opportunity on euro dollar. Now let's look at GBPUSD. Let's see what kind of price action we have on GBPUSD. Looking at the monthly chart on GBPUSD, what we can see from the monthly, this is the monthly bullish price action with this monthly impulse, what we can see, the market has made significant bounce from this level, and we will be waiting for the price for a pullback and then continue to rise. As we can see, the market is in the bullish movement. Now if we look at the weekly chart on GBPUSD, what we can see that from the weekly, this is the weekly bullish price action so far. Past week we have seen that GBPUSD still have shown bullish price action with a gap opening, and with a bullish impulse followed by a gap opening, we can expect for the price to continue to rise to the upside to create a new higher high. Now looking at the daily chart to see how the market might be doing. Now from the daily, we see that GBPUSD is still showing bullish price action. This is the daily bullish engulfer. Now this candle on the daily is quite significant. As you can see that it has broken the previous red candle's low, grabbed the liquidity, and then has created a strong bullish engulfer that has a liquidity grab from the support level. Now if we look at our liquidity price action, what we can see that the market is showing in that area significant bullish momentum on GBPUSD. Now looking at the lower time frame, what we can see that there is an impulse here, and with that impulse expecting GBPUSD for the price to come down to form an inverted head and shoulder and then to bounce back up. So this is where I will be waiting for initial pullback, and after this initial pullback for the price to go back up to create a new higher high. So based on that, we will be looking for entry opportunity on GBPUSD. Okay guys, so let's look at dollar CAD. Let's see what kind of price action that we have on dollar CAD. Now dollar CAD, looking at the bigger picture, starting with the monthly chart on dollar CAD, what we can see that from the monthly, this is a monthly bullish candle so far, and this current month, we can see the dollar CAD has shown significant bearish pressure with a long wick at the bottom. As this is the last week of the month, we might see that the price might be coming down to fill that long wick at the bottom. Now looking at the weekly chart, what we can see that from the weekly, dollar CAD has formed a long wick candle again, and what we can see in this area, there is a long wick liquidity doji followed by another doji, and we can see the both of them has formed series of lower high in that area on dollar CAD. Now last week of the trading, last week we have seen another long wick candle. I think that this week we might see, after initial pullback, the market is dropping down to create a new lower low. Now if we look at the daily chart on dollar CAD, what we can see that from the daily, this is the daily long bearish candle in that area, and also we can see that this is a support level on dollar CAD. Now this support is quite significant. As you can see, there is a support here, support here, support here, and the price has formed another support in that area on dollar CAD. And what we could see that with the market open, a pullback and then continuation to the downside, as it is a long-term bearish market. Now looking at the intraday from the 4-hour time frame, we can see the dollar CAD has a breakup structure here in that area. Now this is a breakup structure on dollar CAD. Now this is a very important support level. Now from that support, we have seen the market has completely broken below this support level with a strong impulse, followed by very weaker response from the buyers. Now what we could see on dollar CAD, for the price to bounce back up, retest, and then continuation to the downside to create a new lower low. So this is where I think the dollar CAD, as we are expecting DXY to be bearish, dollar CAD might form that inverted head and shoulder and then could continue to drop in that direction. So this is where we could see the dollar CAD is dropping down to create a new lower low. So this is where we will be waiting for the market open to see how the market is reacting to this intraday support level. Now let's look at ENPR, guys. As you can see that tomorrow there is a very important news coming on EN, which is basically might be very important, as tomorrow means that in my zone it's 4 AM, so it might be different in your zone, time zone. So as JPY news coming, we might see that dollar yen and GBP JPY is getting very volatile. So starting with GBP JPY, so let's see what kind of price action GJ has formed. Looking at the monthly chart on GBP JPY, what we can see that from the monthly, this is the monthly price action. There is a strong bounce on the monthly on GJ, and with this monthly impulse GBP/JPY so far showing significant bullish impulse here on GJ. And with this bullish impulse, what we can expect GBP/JPY to bounce back up to create a new higher high. So if we look at the weekly chart on GJ, what we can see that from the weekly, this is the weekly impulse. There is a strong movement followed by another bullish candle, followed by gap opening and a bullish candle. So far expecting GJ for the price to come down and then to bounce back up to create a new higher high on GBP/JPY. Now looking at the daily chart on GJ, what we can see that from the daily, this is the daily bullish candlestick pattern here on GJ, an impulse correction. So the market is forming series of higher high and higher low on GBP/JPY, expecting for this price to move back up to create a new higher high. So looking at the intraday time frame on GJ, what we can see that from the intraday time frame on GBP/JPY, this is the price is forming and a strong bullish impulsive pattern here, so which is basically a strong uptrending market structure. The market is forming series of higher high and higher low on GJ. What you will be waiting for GBP/JPY for the price to come down for a deeper pullback and then to continue to rise to the upside to create a new higher high. So this is where on GJ, as you can see from the intraday perspective, there is a strong liquidity candle formation here with a 20 EMA retest, and we can see that from that liquidity candle formation, the market has made significant bounce. Now according to my liquidity candle rule, we can see that there are a couple of strong bullish impulse in this area. So we'll be waiting for the price on GBP/JPY for the price to break any of this liquidity zone from the swing trading perspective. And I think that GJ, if the market managed to break below any of this important liquidity zone, we might see that it's bouncing back up again. So this is where, as the market structure is still valid, we will be waiting for potential bullish momentum on GBP/JPY. Now let's look at dollar yen. Let's see how the market might be doing. Now dollar yen, if we look at the monthly chart on dollar yen, what we can see that from the monthly, this is a strongly impulsive market on dollar yen. If we look at the overall market structure from the historical perspective, we can see that dollar yen is a long-term bull market which is creating series of higher high and higher low, followed by past month we have seen that dollar yen has formed a long wick candle, which in fact also potentially bullish continuation pattern. Now, as you can see that dollar yen in that area, back to back 4 months of a strong bullish impulse, followed by there is a long wick candle here, expecting dollar yen for the price to come down to fill that wick and then to bounce back up to create a new higher high. So looking at the weekly chart on dollar yen, what we can see that from the weekly, this is the weekly price action from dollar yen, and with this weekly impulse followed by narrow correction, and we can see another impulse followed by deeper correction, and the market is creating series of higher high and higher low, which is a typical uptrending market structure on dollar yen. Now if we look at the daily chart on dollar yen, what we can see that from the daily, this is a daily bullish price action as well. What we saw that there was a breakdown here followed by another impulse followed by a pullback. So it is typically a bullish market structure on dollar yen, and we might see that bullish continuation pattern in this market. So any drop, as you can see, back to back 2 daily narrow dodges signaling potential bullish continuation pattern, expecting dollar yen to drop below, break any of this liquidity zone, and then to continue to rise to the upside to create a new higher high. So as JPY is getting very volatile in the upcoming week, we might see that dollar yen is breaking any of this structure, as we might see a strong liquidity grab after break of this structure on dollar yen. Any break below or forming any kind of long wick candle, we can look for potential bullish entry opportunity on dollar yen. Now let's look at gold. Let's see how the market might be doing in the upcoming weeks. Now looking at the gold, what we can see, starting with the monthly chart to see overall picture in the market. Now as you can see from the monthly, gold is a long-term bull market. If we look at first of all this inverted head and shoulder formation on gold, we have seen that after this inverted head and shoulder, the market has made a strong impulse, and with this impulse we can see that there is a long wick candle here on the monthly, and this is a monthly support level. What we could see that this month's gold coming down further as last week of the month, expecting for the price to drop to this support and then to bounce back up to create a new higher high. Now looking at the weekly chart on gold, what we can see that from the weekly, this is a long bearish engulfer, and this is the weekly support level here on gold. And what we will be waiting on gold for the price to drop, break below, and then to bounce back up as the market structure is still bullish. Now from the daily, we can see that gold is still maintaining that bullish market structure, still forming series of higher high and higher low. But at the same time, last day of the trading week, we saw a very strong rejection from the top with a very strong liquidity grab. Now above this daily weekly doji, we can see that there was a very strong rejection from the top. This is a bearish engulfer with a stronger liquidity grab that might give gold a bit more downside momentum. And as the last week of the month, before the monthly close, we might see that gold is coming down, breaking that monthly support, and then bouncing back towards the upside. So that could be a very important zone from the higher time frame perspective we can look at while we are also trading gold on the lower time frame. So as soon as we will find any suitable entry, also we will be looking for entry. So here is what we can see, that there is a drop here, a big drop on the daily time frame on gold. And what we can see, the back-to-back 3 days of strong drop followed by a very narrow doji here on the daily. We will be waiting for gold to go up to feel that we can then to drop back down to this support level. Now looking at the lower time frame here on gold, what we can see that from the lower time frame perspective, this is the 4-hour time frame, and we can see that there is a drop here, correction, drop, correction, expecting for the price to continue to drop. As we can see that this trend is still bearish, and below this level there is a high liquidity, and we will be waiting on gold for the price to drop down further to break below to create a new lower low. So from the 1-hour perspective on gold, what we can see that from the lower time frame, here is this is a very strong bearish structure here on gold, and we saw that there is a drop, correction. So this is a lower time frame bearish market structure, expecting for gold to drop down further to this support level. And with the market open, if we see that gold has broken up, grab liquidity, and then we can look for potential selling opportunity in this instrument. So looking at the 15-minute chart from the day trading perspective, with the market open, if we see that gold has given a suitable entry, we will be looking for selling opportunity. I think that gold may continue to drop in that direction. So now let's look at Nasdaq and US30, how they might do. Now looking at the US30, what we can see that from the monthly chart on US30, this is the monthly perspective on US30. This last week of the month, we can see that so far this month's US30 was strongly bullish, and we might see that bullish continuation, as we can see already from a long wick at the top on the monthly. I think that US30 after coming down may go up and fill that long wick at the top. Now looking at the weekly chart on US30, what we can see that from the weekly perspective on US30, there is a long bearish engulfer, and we can see there is an impulse followed by a correction. What we could see this week after breaking below may continue to rise again, as we can see that there is already a wick created on the monthly. We might see initial drop, and at the end of the month we might see the market is going up again, filling that long wick at the top. Now looking at the daily chart, what we can see that from the daily, this is the daily price action on US30, and with this daily price action, from the daily perspective, this is a this is a very strong bullish market structure on US30, an impulse correction, which is basically maintaining typical bullish market structure. And what I think that now, as the market has broken out of the structure, we might see with the market open or early week, we might see another liquidity grab. As you can see, this daily candle is where there is a high liquidity, and if the market drop back below this support level, grab the enough liquidity, we will be looking for entry opportunity. And as soon as we will find suitable entry, we will be looking for entry. I think that this is the zone that can be traded on US30, as long as the price action is showing strong rejection from this support level. Now let's look at Nasdaq. Let's see how the market might be doing here. Now looking at the monthly chart on Nasdaq, what you can see from the monthly perspective, Nasdaq is a bullish market. This is a very strong bullish candlestick pattern, and expecting Nasdaq to bounce back up to create a new higher high. Now looking at the weekly chart on Nasdaq, what you can see that from the weekly, this is a strong bullish impulse, followed by we could see that a pullback and then continuation to the upside to create a new higher high on Nasdaq. Now looking at the daily chart, what you can see from the daily, this is a daily bullish market structure. What we can see, an impulse, narrow correction, impulse, narrow correction. The market is forming series of higher high and higher low, which is basically a bull market on Nasdaq, expecting for this price to come down further and then to continue to rise to create a new higher high. So looking at the lower time frame on Nasdaq, what we can see that from the lower time frame perspective, this is a very strong bullish market structure. The market is forming series of higher high and higher low in this time frame as well. So any pullback down, we might find an entry opportunity on Nasdaq. So as soon as we will find suitable entry, we will be looking for going long on Nasdaq with a high probability trade setup. Traders, I hope that you enjoyed this weekly Forex forecast. If you enjoyed this weekly Forex forecast, make sure that you give a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done yet. With that being said, thank you very much for trading. I'll see you soon trading live together. Thank you. Until then, stay well, stay happy.